Go.
Oh, hello, world, listeners and viewers. We have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Jamie Allen, and she's joining Olivia and myself. And today we're going to be talking about mental health and spirituality from an African perspective. So this is just our thoughts and shared experiences and opinions. Do share your thoughts and reactions to this and your experiences. We welcome that. Welcome, Graces. Jamie, would you like to
Awesome.
tell us a bit about yourself first?
Sure. So I'm Jamie Allen. As Olivia said, I am 40 years old. I live in the United States in Iowa. I am a mental health counselor. I am also a doula. I wear many hats, and so I love learning. Learning is a big thing for me, and so when presented with this opportunity, I thought I was really honored and excited to do this. So yeah,
We're honored to have you.
thank
Great.
you.
My brain is encompassing so much. So we're going to say this is a part of the journey in this discussion. So in terms of mental health, we have our definitions, and then we're going to link that to spirituality and what's called, we are all of the African diaspora and descendants of that, melanated peoples in every corner, adding flavor in all the world. So my thought, Olivia actually taught me in terms of mental health, which is about mindfulness and of the brain, and separate to mental health issues. You taught me that in our first interview a few years ago, and I've always kept that in mind. Spirituality to me means in, rituals of living passed on from ancestors and making that as a daily part of life in terms of mind, body, and soul and action. And yeah, and that's my side. And your perspectives, your definitions?
You want to go first, Jamie, and then I go?
Sure. I really concur a lot of what you're saying. Mine is really just tapping in to speaking to my ancestors. I'm really big on dreams. I love when they come back and visit me, and I do my best to remember them. And a lot of times when I do remember them, I know there's something I'm supposed to be gaining from that. I think a big part of my journey right now, as it relates to spirituality, is really just being able to be spiritually inclined to listen, to see the hidden messages, the meanings of, I often tell clients sometimes too, like, life is like walking down a beach and you're picking up all these different shells. And so I want to be in tune. I want my steps guided and ordered by the ancestors and the creator.
I
Yeah,
like that.
great. So spirituality is such a big word, isn't it? In a sense of everyone sees it sometimes as different, but I obviously think, not obviously, but I see it as similar as the both of you, where it's connecting to self and connecting to the energy of yourself and the connection to your higher self and your ancestors. And that even though we live in a physical world, um, we are connected to nature, which is usually some things are unexplained, but you can feel it. And you can sometimes also see it. Like as Jamie was saying, in dreams, things come to us in a different way, and connecting to that. Living holistically as well. Everything works together as one, because I think everything is one, even though it's physical sometimes. So this is a short nutshell for me what spirituality is: really connecting to your inner higher self, but then also linked to our ancestors and the moon, the stars, because yesterday was full moon. I like all of that. Yeah, because it's telling us stuff, and sometimes we don't really tune into it. If we would be tuning in more to those things, I think our lives would be so much different, and we could do so. It's very powerful in the sense of we would be able to live our life in such a different way, to say like that we could manifest whatever if we could go to that spiritual level of living in the physical world, if you know what I mean, as spiritual beings. I don't know, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and spirituality is very, very powerful.
I love that. So
in my opinion.
it is powerful. I mean, it's life. It's a life force as well. For me, I'm just looking. I like when we have our definitions, but I'm realizing, growing up, there's lots of kind of learnt or adopted meanings in action, but actually going to look at what the so-called dictionary definition terms, I have to look it up, so because there's a consensus, approved or not. So Oxford Dictionary is saying spirituality as a noun is the quality of being connected with religion or the human spirit. So I don't subscribe to any religion. That's a whole other episode, but for different reasons. But the human spirit, as Olivia was saying, I feel that we are one, we are connected, we have an effect on each other, and as in terms of energies, and as Jamie was saying with ancestors, as my elders say, I carry the village in my blood. We are continuing the bloodline, and whether or not you believe that there is a hereafter, they're within us nonetheless, So yeah, the quality of being connected with religion or the human spirit, to keep it simply. So yeah, this is exciting me, and I'm trying to, there's so much directions I want to go in, but this is also about Jamie. So you mentioned about being a doula. Now, for people that don't know what that is, how would you define that great work?
Yeah.
It is someone that aids women in birth, delivery, and as you guys know, historically, that was us melanated women. We brought babies here, we nursed them, we took care of them. And so I'm trying to think how I got interested in it. Also, I can't remember my daughter, she's young, and I have 2 grandsons, and she's having another one. And I don't know if we were talking about, like, here in Des Moines, like, we had a lot of Black women that the babies were dying. And I'm like, well, wait a minute now, we populate the earth. There's no reason for this. And so I think I just kind of took it personal, and I'm like, I want to get involved. I want to go to the doctor's appointments with some of these young ladies. I want to, teach them and help them be able to advocate for their bodies. I tell people that my last grandson, I delivered him, and the doctor was extremely upset with me. Because, they say that, a lot of the times they have the women lay on their back and push. That makes hard labor. No, I had my baby get up on all fours. I said, come on, I had to be somewhere. I said, I need to see this baby before I go to work. And so she got to pushing, and we got the baby out, and it was done. Slid right out of there. And then the first birth of my first grandson, I was there with her, and I didn't know what I knew now. And so she did deliver on her back, and they had to do a episiotomy, which they cut the vagina to make it bigger. But anyway, I remember looking down between the legs, and blood was squirting everywhere. And I said, wait a minute. I looked at the nurse. I said, this is not normal. And so they had to rush her, call another doctor, do a transfusion. And so just think about even that experience with her, like how many other young ladies are in here. And, and I don't know if you guys have heard about the story. I think it was in Atlanta. A young lady was delivering a melanated child, and the doctor decapitated the child. Yeah. So I take it personal, them babies are being delivered, are our future. And so I love it.
It's as a mother of I'm glad that you brought up that you had a journey of different types of birth. Really briefly, really supportive, helpful team. Went into hospital. It was a different midwife that the team, change of shift, young African Caribbean lady, turned out to be amazing, but they were sticking to textbook in terms of induced vaginal labor, telling me to stand up. And my husband said, okay, well, it's going to be hours. Let me go home, get our bag and things. And basically me just preferring it to be us, calm presence in there. Don't know how long it's going to be. Also thinking about other people, but just us focused. Now, not being listened to. Following textbook, not listening to me.
Yeah.
Now, it turned out that and also only listen to me and not the man. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when he got back, he just happened to just like, he can read me. I was in too much pain. He's just reading me and he knows. And he just took over. And I'm just, like I said, it's another time he saved my life because they were saying, no, it's not due, not due, not due. I'm saying she's coming. Fast forward, standing up, I said, it's too much. I need to lie down. And the gas isn't working. This is which I didn't want anyway. What I'm saying is that team effort, yes, they're professionals and I trust experts, but when it's consultative care and evidence-based care, do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Teamwork, raising a village to get that kind of thing.
Right.
So if it could have gone any other way, and even though she was amazing in a training, when the textbook was gone, when the script was gone, I saw the bewilderment in her eyes. Well, that's it. That's front line, you know. And because of all of that, the drainage of not being listened to, you know, that it's that life force that we're talking about. And I pray, I'm not religious, but I pray daily for protection, gratitude to ancestors, to a creator who could be a she. Please.
Absolutely. You got a belly button. That's what I tell men. You got a belly button.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's that kind of, I give thanks for those things because whatever comes, I've been glad to witness it. So that spirituality that you're talking about, that could have been a trauma, but it wasn't because I've surrounded myself with people that actively listen to me, are there for my welfare. And when I cannot talk, labor, pain, whatever else, past, present, future, the trauma of our ancestors that we're carrying and of the existing community, loved ones, inherited stresses, microaggressions, all of that, put it aside, we wanted to see our child. Picking come, it was all this, it happened. So I'm always whatever job people do. I know it's not easy, but please listen to us. Listen to us. So it was, we're blessed, but when I hear things, I'm like that, not being listened to, and you're putting your trust. And repeatedly, great people, overwhelmed, underpaid in all spheres, but it'll be easier if you listen to us.
Right.
You know? So I'm thankful for that you're a doula. I wanted to find out how you have put your spirituality into practice in terms of your counseling work as well.
Oh, it's very present. I've had to, you know, because my energy has been on fire this year. You know, they said that this was the year of, I can't remember. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but my energy has been crazy lately. And so I've been having to watch how some would call it aggressive. I call it, I'm just assertive and I'm, you know, but anyway. And so in my therapy practices, especially when I get to people that are not necessarily that look like us, I have to do what I can to get them to tap into spirit, whatever it looks like to them. I always approach a form of meditation, right? Getting quiet, quieting your mind so we can listen to the answers. And depending on the situation of the person where they're coming from, you know, I came from the Christianity, right? I'm glad of my parents. I didn't get into that. So I was in one of my parents didn't really do religion like that, so I was free to figure things out. But anyway, and so I do my best to get them to tap into self, right? Because I tell them when they come to see me, I don't want to see you forever because there's going to be a situation there. So you're but I've had to tread lightly, right? With we know the truth. I know the truth, right? But everybody doesn't always identify that. So when during sessions, I say to me, what should I say to this individual? You know, I'm in my head meditating even as I'm doing therapy. So yeah, that's how I It's everything. Astrology, I love, and I've had to be careful with that because a lot of times I want to know my client's signs because that'll tell me really what I'm dealing with. Now, I'm not saying every Gemini is the same or every Aquarius is the same, but I'm saying though, there are some foundational pieces that I can know what I'm dealing with. So I like to know their zodiac sign.
What's called? I'm really excited, but I'm going to keep that separate because I don't know anything about astronomy? No, astrology.
Yep.
Thank you, astrology. But I know there is a deeply rooted ancient craft that is intricate. So I never dismiss it, but there's this kind of thing about, I think there's just, in our kind of force-fed, limited attention span media world, people just want to shorten it because, of course, they get their signs. They're thinking limiting 12 signs, 8 billion people. You're this, you're this, you're this. But then I found out a bit more, and I think it's really, really interesting. Might have to welcome you back for that and go into that. So I just wonder. So without going into, stay in a comfortable space for yourself and what you want to share. You're obviously in professional context, but I would have thought it would be your approach with your counselors, your service users, your clients, and the families that you help. I would have thought everything that you've just told us about would be a great start. Do they obviously come to you because of that, or am I misunderstanding?
I don't necessarily advertise that component, right? It's because I have to, I'm in what they would call Babylon, so I have to play along. And so that's just, I let everybody know when they come to see me, I'm pretty eclectic. I'm the weird therapist. And the great thing is, how energy is positive attracts positive and so forth. A lot of the clients that I have gotten for the most part are open to the ideas and the thought process and thinking outside the normal. So it hasn't been too many issues. I know that sometimes when I'm doing counseling with Christians, they kind of get a little fearful, like devil worshiping or something like that. And I have to, no, sis, that's not it, but yeah.
It's so interesting. Olivia, please say you say something because I could ask so many things about this.
I love this topic.
Yes.
I love this topic. I'm just listening and taking it all in. So because I wonder what kind of African, well, two things, like what kind of African rituals do you tend to use? I assume for different people, different things, but what are sort of the African rituals that you tend to use for your clients, and also your experience maybe around, when people have like psychotic episodes, and because for me, psychotic episodes are also like a spiritual awakening sometimes. Like when you speak to people who went totally like, nuts, as they say sometimes. So politically, you're not supposed to say that, but in that kind of way, like when they're really like, not in touch with the physical things that around them, so they go to a different dimension. So I wonder if you experience that and how, and what your beliefs is with that. If you also feel that it's a spiritual awakening or linked to the mental health of your clients, of just people in general, to be honest, or the mental health issues that they're going through. I wonder what you think about it and how you experience that, and then how I know I ask you thousands and millions of questions at the same time. And the African rituals, how you would adapt that, because sometimes you probably need to adapt it if you work with specific people. Sometimes you can use like different words instead of saying specific things because people will run away. Even like as a counselor, you might not even call it counseling because some people run away with it, but you can still counsel them, if you know what I mean. So I wonder what tactics you use and what your thought is about psychotic episodes linked to mental health.
So you had mentioned about rituals. For me, it's sage, candles. I'm getting a little bit deeper into the salts and the different seasonings and the herbs and knowing how to put them together and manipulate energy. But anyway, so that is a part, because a lot of times with my office, like sometimes when people come into my office, And me in general, I just have a healing spirit. Like if people come here, I'm the hospital, people come to me, family members, whatever, when they come to my house, they're leaving healed with a clear mind. And so when dealing with, like, I even had an issue when you said it was a psychotic episode. I have an office that's in a lower level of like a mall, and one of my neighbors, he's an accountant, he had some significant mental health issues. I want to say some bipolar, schizophrenia in there. And I remember getting to work one day, and the maintenance men were there, and they were kind of looking like, we don't know what's going on. So I went up to him, and we just started talking, right? And he, you know, a lot of times, from my understanding, they're just tapping into other dimensions. That's all. That they're sane. They're just not here with us right now. And so I just began to talk to him really calmly, like, you know, again, we're on the same wavelength. I said, call your wife. He called his wife, and then she came down and got him, and they were looking at me like, you know, I just created a whole miracle. And I'm like, no, we just, you know, you can't tell him what he's saying is not true, you know, because he believes that, you know, he sees that. As far as my, you know, my regular mainstream clients, you know, I had, and I love it, right? Because I had one young lady come to me, and this child said, every time I think of somebody dying, if I get mad, they die. And she's like there because she's thinking, oh my God, I'm nuts. Maybe you're not nuts. We just got to learn how to channel that energy. That's all. You know, and so a lot of times I feel like I get paid, first of all, to be people's cheerleader. And I also get paid to tell people you're not crazy. You know, sometimes you just, everybody's life is different. And the people would deem abnormal is actually quite normal. You know?
And I think that's also the thing about society, where we all put in boxes. And as soon as you're outside of the box, it's like you get this tag to it. So a lot of times, as you say, people like just in a different dimension. You just need to you have to put it in perspective, isn't it? It's just they don't look at the whole picture. That's why I was mentioning holistic living. If you understand the fullness of a person, or what, you know, then you can understand why they're in a different dimension sometimes. And some people are just more sensitive to it, isn't it? But it sounds like you really have, as you say, a healing spirit. So when you speak to people, you come with that energy. So you must do a lot of work for yourself as well in order to be present, so people can feel your energy. Sometimes you can probably be there without saying anything, because they can feel your healing energy, isn't it? I would think.
In the grocery store, like I'll be in the grocery store, and just people just walk up to me, and they're like, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm a therapist. And it just happens. It's okay, you know. And then I've even went as far as, like, there was a couple ladies that I know that I prayed over their womb, I touched their womb, and they both are now pregnant. You know, I'm waiting on one more baby to come, and, you know, she's doing some things. And so, you know, I put everything into it, you know, and I know I've been here before. I know I'm only here to help. I know I'm here to work, right? I'm a martyr, and I've came to that conclusion, and I'm all in. And I was thinking of are you guys seen the Black Panther movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one?
The one with the guy that had passed away.
Yeah, the last one. The second one. Why you mean the second one?
The first one, Wakanda.
Yes. And so when you were talking, I was thinking about that. Like, that's the experience I'm looking. So when he went under, and I don't know, some people told me it was like peyote. Like, I can't wait to have that experience. Like, I'm just ready to tap in, and I'm ready. And I'm a little chicken. I'm not gonna lie. I get scared, you know, but I know it's deeper than what I see with my physical eye.
Yeah. And when did you started tapping into your own spirituality? Did it come from, well, you say your background is Christian, so I wonder what happened for you to tap into that?
My girlfriend.
You don't have to say, by the way.
No, my girlfriend's a Leo. She's an IT nerd, or ex-best friend of mine. But anyway, she got to questioning things during the political season and different things that she had been studying. Very, extremely smart. And I remember one time she came over, she was telling me certain things, and I was heavy in the church then. And then I got an uncle. You know, every family has that crazy person. That's the one that everybody says stay away from, and that's the one you need to be near. And he came over one day, and he began we stayed up literally 24 hours, him teaching what Vesica Pisces meant, when he talks about with Jesus and how that is tied to astrology. And we talk about the Masons and the ancestors, the Pygmy tribe. And so I remember being flooded with this. And I also remember dreams of, even when I was coming out of Christianity, I remember a dream, and I emailed a pastor. I still occasionally look back at that email, who I used to listen to this pastor all the time. And I remember in the dream, I was just like laying back, you know, how like something's pulling you from the chest, but you're just being pulled up to the sky. And, you know, so in Christianity, they talk about the ascension process. And so I emailed Pastor Paul and I'm like, hey, you know, you guys talk about being like Jesus. Are we able to ascend? And it was little things like that. Dreams started happening. I remember one time I got up, I just out of a dream, out of nowhere, something said, go clean the toilet. And I literally just sprung up, started cleaning the toilet. I remember the last one that really scared me is spirit took me back to clean house. And I had a traumatic childhood with parents that were on drugs and so forth. And I just remember being in that dream crying. And I used to be really close with my pastor's wife. And I kept calling people and nobody was picking up, but I had to deal with that. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. It was just one day I just broke free, and it was like I can't, you know, with religion, you know, with learning and knowing the things that I know. It was like with Christianity, it's just a scapegoat religion. I have to be my higher and lower self have to create balance, and so yes, that's my yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Amazing. Definitely. When people are talking, I like to actively listen, as Olivia talked a long time ago. So Chadwick Boseman was the warrior that passed a few years back from Wakanda Forever. But I just wanted to pull together some of the threads that you guys have been talking about. It's such wisdom, but I think it's really, I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. I just bear with my patience. Give me some patience, please, because I think it's really important. I actually emailed. I always have different thoughts, and we're all here. I love that you're talking about your healing spirit. We're trying to offer solution-based platforms through shared experience, good and bad. So for me, I emailed Olivia the other day, and I think it was about, you know, hurtful words. So this is like kind of the throwaway words people use casually. And I think it's really important that we talk about this because it's linked to mental health issues, anxieties, and I think for the deliberate systemic bullying from childhood, from education, workplace, familial, peers, all these kind of things. Even the psychological warfare of news. Now, Jamie mentioned about breaking free. I think the main threads here, because Jamie wanted to share about mental health and spirituality. I think that's linked to what you said about breaking free. Spirit, as one of my favorite MCs, what's called Lady Dynamite, UK amazing artist, said, spirits don't fly unless them free. I will always remember that. So spirituality, life force is free. It shouldn't be contained. But I think what you have is religion, which has its good aspects, which is about community, being in commune with the divine, sharing wisdom, breaking down the good word. Unfortunately, the disguised evil of that is the obey without question, which tries to contain and enslave and imprison the mind, the freedom of our ancestors, the spirituality, our rituals, in all that way, which I think leads, and we see it linked to mental health issues. So when they're saying that, you know, how can you be having children who have mental health issues in school and loads of things, we would never know all the answers. I think that's why we are here, a purpose as well, bear witness, help each other. But to not be free, this is normal when invisible disabilities, leading your own path, you're not harming anybody. So wetting, what's the wahala? What's the problem? Because you're not conforming. So of course, thank goodness you were there to help your acquaintance, but everyone's standing by. It's being human, connecting to his level, listening, gaining trust within that psychotic episode, that's amazing in itself. These are miracles that exist. I believe, I do agree with that. One thing about the hurtful words, that was going to be another episode, but I'm going to bring it here. You mentioned weird, aggressive, nuts, devil, and crazy. We know these are all hurtful words that usually, when spoken, is to do with the person saying it and not with you being attacked. Because if you actually say, oh, okay, what do you mean? Why do you say that? They wouldn't be able to. What it is your life force. You are strong. They are threatened by that. It's a very simple thing. Or it's too big for them to understand, you know? And it's actually quite scary when very, very casually children use that. Oh, you're crazy. I know sometimes it's slang, you're just different. But actually, someone hears that. Oh, you're a bit different, you're crazy. That could lead to really bad consequences. You know what I mean? This happens all over the world. It's so casually used. Nuts, crazy, or alternative. Anyone who dresses in different garments, even if you're Caucasian and just wearing black, ha! So, you know, these kind of things. So if I wore my Nirvana t-shirt or just had black makeup on, target. I get that we're all raised to be targets. No one will ever be more of a scapegoat than melanated people and us. We will always be the scapegoat for everybody else because no one wants to be the target. You know we're great. You know we're the foundation of all Abrahamic faiths. Hence why people go and look for yourself. For those that don't know, lots of our history is buried. Lots of our monuments have been vandalized to bury these truths, you know. But that's why you do need, there's good people, I believe, in religion who actually are trying to help people. I believe in a creator. I just don't believe in some of their representatives on earth, because that's, oh, yeah, that's another episode. That should be what we should rename this. That's another episode. You know, and it's really, really, thank you for like sharing that, because the root causes, I've always loved life. And, you know, the first episode for Good Vibes was meant to be somebody else, but they didn't want to do it. And thankfully, Olivia stepped in and I was able to ask, yours, well, my husband did the first one, but you stepped in. It was on Facebook, you first for the first YouTube one. And it was to answer, I did not know anything about therapy. We are a talking people. I have good people around me. We talk and talk, but realizing people don't talk with too much depth. It's just distraction, fair enough. But actually, when an emergency comes, you really know who is got your back.
Right.
Like really cares, irrespective of the situation. And I think that's like so important, because for this, it's actually scary when you're watching documentaries to do with mental health. And well, Olivia told me this, we've read about this, but you're interviewing experts, okay? They're not challenging anybody in a therapy one-to-one session about themselves. It's like, for me, when I watch a therapy session where the person is just listening, watching the clock, it's akin to going to a confession box, knowing you'll be absolved of your fuckery, excuse me, and your sins. There's not going to be any kind of rehabilitation, change. So of course, I actually go to a place of worship near me, because I went to an African one and audio sensory. I'm expecting, I've been used to that all my life, but it was too much. It was asking for my bank account number more times than I could hear the good word.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, that's a shame. I'm with my people, but actually, no. Then go to a local one and I will ask, listen, with respect, I don't believe in religion. I don't trust some of you. I know there's good, but I do believe in, as I said earlier, the good word. And he said, that's fine, come here. I said, you won't be recruiting me, so you're welcome me today, but you won't be recruiting me. He goes, honestly, it's fine. And I will go there to listen because he will explain to the congregation the flaws in it. This means this, but actually people have taken this on board to be that. You know, these kind of mixture of things. Anyway, it's all linked. We need to help each other. I'm still learning and stuff, but when you're hearing kids' mental health issues in the papers, online, these forums and stuff, and I'm like, these are so removed from my reality. But when you're seeing it online, but when public service broadcasting, there's, I don't know whether you know of a soap here called EastEnders, basically. It's basically throwaway, like, it's like, how would you call it? It's drama serial.
It's like Bold and the Beautiful, but then English.
Yeah.
It's like what?
It's like Bold and the Beautiful, or As the World Turns, but in the English one. But then more like working class people, right? I think.
Yes. So they have their different soaps. They have EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, these kind of things. The thing is, what I'm saying, things are dismissive, even though I don't like constructed reality. I can't do fake. Right. We go by energy that's not judged. You can just feel it. These series, when they do public service broadcasting really well researched, developed over months. Something told me to watch EastEnders, and I haven't watched in a long time. And they've shown one of the ladies go through a collective defensive murder, to affair, to guilt of burying somebody, to a psychotic episode. I think this is why people need to learn, but I don't know the difference between a nervous breakdown, depression, psychosis, all these kind of things. And this is the reason why it's really important, like someone like you got to that man, and a difference between people who live. You notice how people come out when there's drama. Yeah. They think they know everything, but the reason why that means they're not watching these really important programs. They're just soaps. When it's done well, because it's lots of shouting, it's affairs, it's drama, it's fighting. When it's done well and important, there was one, Emmerdale did one on dementia, which I've had firsthand experience in my family. It was done so well. It's moving. And I thought, well, safe place. They did it so well is what I'm saying. But sometimes the ones who want to care will care. The others will, when there's drama offline, they will jump and conflate. It's a neurological issue. It's not a psychosis issue, but they want the drama. Right. And it's so dangerous. So that's why I link all of these things with it. Thank you for your patience. It's just trying to understand. And honestly, it's like, okay, I get why we did a program on gaming. I totally get why the VR thing now, that's where you're in control. I haven't done it, but I get why, So it's really, really thankful. So anyone who's seen you, Jamie, I'm so proud that you made and honored that you made time for this, because you briefly mentioned about aggressive, someone assuming you were like that. It's not easy on a day-to-day, but you know the reason. Right. It's just to discredit, diminish, and it's about them. But I know it's, you've got an income to make, but you've helped many lives, and there's many more to come. And this is going to be shared with everybody, because actually, Olivia might be able to talk of this, and yourself. When there's these people looking for this, yes, you can't state it, but Ah-lee-ah-kwaye and Olivia can help with sharing this with everybody and knowing that alternatives exist. Right. On their terms. How do you promote yourself? what's the wording? I know it has to be professional, but when we're sharing this blessed discussion, what would we call it though? So people know.
I have you talking about as far as like my advertising for my agency?
For yourself, because it's called mental health and spirituality. But how would you say you're a healer? Is it healing through counseling? Spiritual healing?
I would say spiritual healing. I mean,
Yes.
because yeah, I am that I am.
Yes. Amazing.
But a part that I really like as well is that your children or your daughter that you were talking about, it, you know, it's a good example of, you know, it's almost like them seeing you. How can I say it? Sometimes they can copy you without you teaching them, if you know what I mean. So I like that what you do affects people around you, sometimes without sitting them down and explaining stuff, if you know what I mean. Because children obviously learn from their parents or from their guardians or whoever, but sometimes, you know, doing those African rituals and stuff like that, they just, you know, they won't run away from it, because a lot of times people run away from these kind of things. But when they see you doing that and seeing obviously your progression and how you heal people and what you do, it's going to be normal for them. So they can tap into themselves in a automatically how it's supposed to be, not like, oh, I have to do these things. And, you know, and I like that, because you're a good example of, yeah, I'm doing my thing, I'm helping my clients, but then your family and friends that are open enough, let's say it like that, they will pick up on that, and then they will normalize it, because a lot of people are still quite they still run away from spirituality. They're kind of scared, isn't it? So I think that's one thing that I really like, because you affect more people than you probably think that you do, as well. And that's what I like the most, because that's more powerful even. You know, you're just being you, and that is real.
Thank you. Thank you.
So real change. Anything you'd like to share before we finish?
This was a blessing to be here with you ladies. Like this is, you know, I feel like this is a part of my journey. Those shells I was saying I'm picking up, because I have been manifesting and praying for my tribe, and you guys showing up here today has let me know that I'm on the right path and my tribe's coming. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Indirectly, we're part of your tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spiritually, we're part of your tribe.
Absolutely. We feel each other's energy. It's real. Yeah. Yeah.
Honored to be so. Right. Peace out from me.
Well, thank you very much for being there for us and sharing.
Thank you.
And I will, follow Jamie on Instagram and connect with
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.